The luxury private jet hummed softly as passengers settled in. Businessmen adjusted their silk ties, flipping through financial reports. Families juggled their carry-ons, the excited chatter of children filling the cabin. The scent of freshly brewed coffee mixed with the soft leather aroma of first-class seating. The atmosphere was exclusive, serene, and refined. Among the passengers sat Johnny Depp, known to the world for his enigmatic presence and captivating performances. He reclined by the window in his plush first-class seat, flipping through the in-flight menu. Despite the comforts around him, his mind wandered, his deep eyes gazing absently out at the tarmac. Life had blessed him with fame and fortune, yet moments of solitude often reminded him of a simpler time when gestures of kindness mattered more than red carpets and flashing cameras. A sudden shift in energy coursed through the cabin. A murmur spread, passengers turning their heads with quiet awe. "It's Clint Eastwood," someone whispered in disbelief. Even in his advanced age, Clint carried an undeniable presence, his weathered face etched with years of wisdom and experience. He strode in with quiet authority, accompanied by an aide who looked concerned. The flight attendant, a young woman with a poised smile, hesitated before explaining. "I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Eastwood, but due to an overbooking issue, your first-class seat has been reassigned. We only have seating available in economy." A ripple of discomfort spread through the cabin. Clint's eyes flickered with fatigue, but he remained composed. It was a situation he wouldn't make a fuss over. Still, the idea of the Hollywood legend being forced into a cramped coach seat seemed absurd to many. Johnny watched the exchange unfold. He felt an impulse, a call from within, and before he could second-guess it, he rose from his seat. Walking toward Clint with a warm, genuine smile, he extended his hand. "Mr. Eastwood, please. Take my seat. I insist." The cabin fell silent. Clint, known for his hardened demeanor, studied Johnny with those piercing eyes, searching for insincerity, but finding none. "You sure about this, kid?" Clint's voice, still filled with the gravel of his younger days, carried a tone of astonishment and gratitude. Johnny nodded firmly. "Absolutely." A flicker of something softened Clint's gaze, something almost imperceptible to onlookers. "Much obliged," he said simply, before accepting the gesture. The passengers watched, some in disbelief, others with admiration. This was Hollywood humility in action. Johnny made his way to the economy cabin, squeezing into a middle seat between a weary mother holding a wailing infant and a fast-talking salesman who smelled of cheap cologne. The stark contrast between first class and economy was undeniable: tight seats, constant noise, and minimal legroom. But Johnny didn't seem to mind. He leaned back, adjusting himself comfortably as the plane prepared for takeoff. Meanwhile, Clint settled into his first-class seat, but found himself unable to relax. The weight of Johnny's gesture sat with him, stirring memories long buried. He pulled out a small notebook, a habit he had developed over decades as a filmmaker. Words formed in his mind, the beginnings of an idea. Something about the power of simple, selfless acts. About an hour into the flight, the tranquility was shattered. A sudden jolt rocked the aircraft, sending a collective gasp through the cabin. The seatbelt signs flashed urgently as the pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing severe turbulence due to an unexpected storm system. Please remain calm and keep your seatbelts fastened." The jet shuddered violently. Overhead compartments rattled, drinks spilled, and nervous whispers turned into prayers. In first class, Clint gripped the armrests, his knuckles white. He had weathered many storms in his life, both in the sky and on the ground, but something about this turbulence felt different, stronger, more persistent. His thoughts drifted to Johnny, now sitting in the rear of the plane, experiencing the same storm without the comforts of luxury. Back in economy, Johnny glanced around. The mother beside him clutched her baby, whispering soothing words despite her own fear. The once boisterous salesman was now frozen in place, gripping his seat. Johnny, sensing the anxiety around him, offered a reassuring smile to the mother. "We're going to be okay," he said gently. The turbulence intensified, and for a moment, fear gripped every heart on board. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the rocking ceased. The plane stabilized, leaving a cabin full of shaken but relieved passengers. A collective exhale filled the air. Clint unbuckled his seatbelt. Without a word, he rose and walked toward the back of the plane. The passengers in economy watched in stunned silence as the legendary Clint Eastwood approached Johnny Depp's seat. "Mind if I join you for a bit?" Clint asked. Johnny blinked, momentarily caught off guard. "Of course not." Clint slid into the narrow seat beside Johnny. The contrast was striking. Two Hollywood icons squeezed into economy, bridging an unspoken gap between their worlds. "Why'd you give up your seat?" Clint finally asked, his tone sincere. Johnny shrugged. "It just felt like the right thing to do. You've inspired so many people through your work. I just wanted to give something back." Clint chuckled, shaking his head. "Never thought a seat could mean so much." Johnny smiled. "It's not the seat, Clint, it's the gesture." Around them, passengers listened intently, their hearts warmed by the unexpected bond forming before their eyes. When the plane finally landed, passengers disembarked with a renewed sense of appreciation. The storm had not just been in the sky, it had been within their hearts, and it had been calmed by a single act of kindness. By the time Johnny and Clint reached baggage claim, news of their interaction had already gone viral. Reporters gathered outside the airport, eager for a statement. Clint turned to Johnny with a knowing smile. "You ready for this?" Johnny smirked. "Not really?" Clint let out a rare, genuine laugh. "You'll be fine, kid. They can teach you how to act, but they can't teach you heart. And you've got that." The next morning, Johnny's phone rang. It was Clint. "Johnny, I've been thinking about our conversation. I've been putting off a project, a film about kindness, about how even the smallest gestures can change lives. And you just gave me the perfect opening scene." Johnny leaned back, a smile playing on his lips. "Tell me more." "Sometimes life's greatest stories aren't scripted. They're lived."